create, educate. This is the motto, the mission, the music of the Jazz Warriors International, but also of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated 45 years ago today. That day was one of those, if you are old enough to know, and I'm one of those who remembers, one of those days that you remember where you were. It was a spring evening for me. I was born on the south side of Chicago. I'm the west side, I was born on the south side of Chicago. And Memphis, where Dr. King was murdered, was in the same time zone as Chicago. It was 6 p.m., a little after 6. I was a teenager. I was combing my hair, looking at myself in the bathroom mirror of our home. And then I heard my mother screaming downstairs. And that was that. From that day to this, I haven't been able to listen to his voice. And it's not easy anyway to hear it anymore because his descendants have sewed up all his speeches. But if you have a chance to, you'll hear and you'll see that Dr. King embodied the motto of Jazz Warriors International: innovate. The use of his speaking voice as an instrument of mass empowerment and mass action. In New York City, when I lived there in the 80s and I was studying voice, it was Dr. Martin Luther King's voice that was being taught at the Met and everywhere else as a technique for opera singers. Create. Dr. King brought together musicians of all kinds and persuasions in the cause of civil rights, human rights, and in that cause, new strains of jazz emerged. In my time, growing up in Chicago, it was the AACM, Ancient to the Future. That was Anthony Braxton, Henry Threadgill, and many, many others, working through jazz, through innovation, to companion the work in the streets. And our motto is educate. That MLK, in his own way, worked to not only make an environment in which all people can be educated, he gave us all an arc of history that we can embrace in our own lifetimes and pass on. In the tradition, in the moment, forward. This evening is dedicated to the memory of a great man and to his legacy. And if we could take a minute just to remember him. Thank you very much. Now we're going to begin.